Hello there, and yeah, I'm trying to do Ewan McGregor's voice, but I can't. So, welcome to my official drunken review of this TV show, Ahsoka, on Disney Plus, and I'm showing everybody right here. Look at this, all great and wonderful. 8 episodes. Some are 49 minutes, and some are right here, 37. Now, I haven't done this in a very long time because I'm always freaking busy. But if you go back, I did my drunken review of the grand show on Amazon, The Rings of Power, which I called The Woke of Power. I do think since I recorded that stuff, I am better at talking. I'm a lot more slower, and my presentation is damn sure better.
Things have improved, yes.
Why am I doing this right now for? I'm recording this on November 3rd, about noon. I'm going to try to watch all 8 episodes in a row because there's no new movies coming out this weekend. Also, next week is Captain Marvel 2 called The Marvels. So I think it will be pretty good timing if I can get this out in time. So the premise of a drunken review is, listen, I didn't review a weekly episode recap of Ahsoka. Plenty of other people did. And of course, the people I follow from The Critical Drinker to Nerdrotic, nobody was saying anything good about this show. But I always feel like because I have my integrity, that I can't sit there and say a show is good or a show is bad unless I sit here and watch it for myself, which I'm going to do. The difference is that unlike everybody else, I'm gonna do the entire season in a row, also get pretty freaking wasted. Now, you can't tell in the background, I just left the gym, also showered, put on my Jedi robes and shit. Got some good old muscle milk right here because I just hit the gym. And of course, the Walmart, because I'm poor, the Walmart friggin' box of family crackers. I have a little Star Wars mug right here. Also, put this over a little bit, a fresh pot of coffee because I heard the show is boring as fuck and I'm gonna need it. The biggest thing is right here, I'm gonna start this off with some good old UV blue. It's a little shot of raspberry flavored vodka. It says sunlight activated. But the biggest kicker is right here, fresh bottle of Svedka. This is Svedka Blue Raspberry, cost me $15, and it is 70 proof and also 35% alcohol. I will be opening this stuff up once I drink this. So I just want to tell people that the premise is going to be I'm going to drink a little bit, watch an episode. I'm not making a 10-hour video. I don't have the freaking free time. So I watch an episode, do a 3 or 4 minute recap, then get into episode 2.
You make it sound so simple.
The premise is going to be that right now I'm fresh, I'm showered, I got some sleep, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm sure by episode 5 and 6, I'm going to be like this. I'm going to, oh God. And I'm hoping that I can make somebody laugh because the premise is I'm really getting drunk and I heard this show is really terrible and it requires me getting drunk and I'm already skipping. So everything's going to be unfiltered. I'm not going to bullshit around and take multiple takes. The second that an episode is over, I'm just going to record it, talk for 4 or 5 minutes. Hopefully it's coherent and I hope I can make somebody laugh. Now, I also want to do this because my Woke of Power got 5,000 views and I had a very smaller channel back then. I do have more subscribers. Anybody seeing this, thank you very much. And you never know. Every single video you put out there, it could be my 10,000 views. It could be 20,000 views. Who knows? But let's start this off. And you guys see this right here. I'm going to real quick drink this stuff and pour some coffee, start episode 1 of Ahsoka, and get ready for a long, again, this is 12 o'clock. I'm hoping to get this shit done by 6 p.m. I do got to work tonight, so 6 p.m., go to bed, try to wake up after a couple hours, sober up, get a pizza, because I'm not going to go to work fucking hammered, right? So let me try this stuff out. Let's do a drum roll. We have UV Blue Raspberry flavored vodka. You ready? Oh, yeah.
It tastes so good.
Okay, guys, so wish me luck. What I'm going to do is obviously go from, sorry, I'm drinking here. Quick player mode, and it's going to be a smaller screen to full screen. You're going to see about 5 seconds. I'm going to see you in 1 hour later. I'm going to start off right here. Part 1, Master and Apprentice. And yeah, may the force be with me. And it's going to be a long freaking day. But I hope you have fun watching this. And I hope I have fun editing whatever comes afterwards. You ready? So I'll see you in a couple seconds. See you later.
All right, episode 1.
Okay, boys and girls, that was episode 1, and the episode was called, forgive me, because it was so freaking boring. It was part 1, Master and Apprentice, and the episode is 57 minutes long. I'm not gonna lie to you, I already poured some coffee with some good old vodka because this episode was very, very boring.
Boring.
Yes, it is episode 1, and the opening crawl and the open action sequence was pretty good, and it had Ray Stevenson And of course, rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. He plays a character called Balin. Now, Balin and his apprentice have a lightsaber. I'm not mad at Ray, but his character disappeared during the Clone Wars, and this guy should be a very veteran combat master in terms of lightsabers. When he's killing all these rebels inside this base, he's walking very slow. I get it, but you should have some better choreography. Now, sorry. Then we cut to Ahsoka Tano, which Rosario Dawson is a great fan casting choice. She's very beautiful, and she does have a quick, like, 5-minute opening sequence with some droids. And of course, the choreography is questionable at best, but she's there to find a map, and this map leads to Grand Admiral Thrawn. Mind you, I only watched season 1 of Rebels, but I've heard enough that it ended with the character of Ezra Miller.
I'm an alcoholic.
Not Ezra Miller, sorry. Ezra, he disappeared with Thrawn, and now they're trying to find them. So she fights these droids, she beats them, and they give her an entire minute to run away. And they explode the entire, half the planet, right? So after that, we have, because that's the opening 10 minutes, we have basically 35 minutes of just talking and talking, and it's boring.
Boring.
Sabine, whatever her fucking name is, she's training with Ahsoka to become a Jedi. She can't use the Force, and why she's training to become a Jedi makes no goddamn sense. And the rest of the episode is very simply put like this. It's so much standing around like this, it's talking, and I don't get why Ahsoka is so, like, lifeless. She's wooden, and she's trying to be stoic, and I don't feel like it's working. Then, of course, the last 5 minutes, Sabine gets into this fight with Balin's apprentice, who has the red lightsaber. And again, the fight scene, I get that this isn't a Clone Wars era, and like the prequels and stuff, and Anakin and Obi-Wan, but the fight scenes are very like this, and just, it seems very just slow and not entertaining at all. And of course, I'm sure you heard of this by now, because I'm drinking a lot actually right now. Sabine gets impaled by a lightsaber, and she doesn't die. And I kept thinking to myself that, bullshit.
Bullshit.
Because anybody knows, whether it's Qui-Gon, whether it's the friggin' captain in the opening sequence, anybody getting impaled by a fucking laser sword, you should be dead, and the fact that she's not dead is so stupid beyond belief. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I can say. Clocking in at 57 minutes, this episode had maybe 10 minutes at best of action, and maybe 5 minutes of actual, like, dialogue and expanding the story. It feels like 57 minutes, it should have been shaved down to, like, maybe 25. I'll even give them credit at a half hour, but it's so fucking boring. I just poured my second cup of coffee with some vodka, and this is going to be a long 8 episodes, so
It's going to get worse.
quick 4-minute recap. I'll see you guys for episode 2. I'm not sure if, like, this bottle, if I'm going to make it through all 8 episodes. I'll probably finish this shit by episode 3, the way it's going, just to keep myself entertained, right? So I'll see you in a second. Let's get on to episode 2.
Episode 2.
Okay, we're back after episode 2. It is called Toil and Trouble. The opener is Balin. He has the star map, and then the character Morgan, who's apparently the space witch, she's telling Balin and his apprentice where Thrawn is because she can read the map. We cut back to Sabine and Ahsoka. She tells everybody that she's fine because Ahsoka just cut off the head of this droid, and she goes that this droid is just like me, it's resilient. I'm fine. Yeah, she's fine after being impaled by a fucking lightsaber.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
And after that, it's just more dialogue. The one droid is talking to Sabine. He mentions that she has her lightsaber. It's been modified from being Ezra's lightsaber, and she should be training more with her Jedi ways. And of course, Ahsoka was training her, but of course, she hasn't used the goddamn Force, so it makes no sense, and just move on. Then Ahsoka gets into a fight with some droids, and I don't know, I can't help but say again, it's the choreography, and maybe because Ahsoka's older, which doesn't make any sense because as Jedis and Sith age, they get better, but the fight scenes are very wooden and are kind of clumsy. After that, Sabine, because she was a Mandalorian, she cuts her hair, puts back on her helmet, and she's helping Ahsoka out. I do like probably the only good line in the episode was that when Morgan is talking to Balin and his apprentice about the Jedi and about Ahsoka, he does say that it would be a shame to kill Ahsoka because there are so few Jedi left. You get this sense with Balin that yes, he's a bad guy, but he's not like Palpatine bad guy. He's not trying to wipe out all the Jedi, and he does have some sentimental ties to the Jedi Order.
Maybe Maybe he's not such a bad guy.
Not much is going on, and this feels like a 25-minute episode wrapped in a 44-minute episode. So that's all I can say. Let's move on to episode 3.
All right, next episode.
Okay, episode 3 is over, and it's called Time to Fly. And trust me, I wish I could fly somewhere else besides being here. But the only good thing with this episode is that it's only 37 minutes long, and thank God, because it drags the fuck on like so far the past 2 episodes have. Now, basically, the opening starts off with a montage and a cheap kind of ripoff to 1977, A New Hope, where you had Obi-Wan trying to train Luke with lightsaber and the whole display where it's blocking his eyes. Ahsoka does the same thing to Sabine, but of course Sabine doesn't have access to the Force, and it just drags on this whole training montage with Ahsoka trying to make her better. Then we get to Hera, and Hera is doing more political intrigue. Nobody believes that Thrawn is a real threat and he's coming back. Fast forward back to Ahsoka and Sabine some more. Sabine even says that I can't access the Force, I can't feel it in the same way you can, and she even tries moving a cup, and she can't even fucking move a cup, and you're telling yourself that even in the fucking prequels, they were showing 5 and 6-year-olds using the Force, so it's like, enough already, give up this bullshit, she can't touch the Force. After that, the character of Morgan gets into this whole space battle sequence with Ahsoka and Sabine. It, no bullshit, lasts about 16, 17 minutes, and it fucking drags on. At the end of it all, and maybe to their only credit, we do get this very good scene with the space whales, and the space whales, I guess, came from later seasons of Rebels. It does look pretty good on Disney Plus budget, and that's pretty much it. Back to Balin. Balin is in this episode all of like 16 seconds, and they're trying to get one step closer to, yet again, Thrawn and Ezra, and they're building this big spaceport. It's like you could, for the most part, out of this 37-minute episode, possibly make this episode 10 minutes, and you could have gotten the exact same content and dialogue and story progression in 10 minutes. It's a slog to fucking get through. I am, no bullshit, halfway done with this fucking coffee already, and I'm only 3 episodes in. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to go. Oh man, it's painful, but I'm sorry it's only a 2-minute recap, but I honestly, after a 37-minute episode, think that a 2.5-minute recap is more than this episode deserves. So let's see what happens for episode 4. Oh boy, let's go. You're ready? I'm gonna drink some more because I have to. Ugh.
And now, episode 4.
Okay, we're back, and episode 4 is over. It's called Fallen Jedi. Now, you can't see it because this bottle is friggin' the label here, but this bottle is halfway over, and so isn't my friggin' patience. Now, this episode is basically one big battle sequence because Ahsoka and Sabine are still trying to find Balin and his apprentice. Her name is Shen, and they're trying to find this map as usual and get everything done with trying to get to Thrawn and Ezra. Now, Ahsoka, she fights this like whatever droid creature, and he has this dual spinning lightsaber, easily dispatches him, and yet again, round 2, we have Sabine fights Shen, and just I can't help but mention again the choreography. It's just slow, and it's just friggin' boring as hell. Sabine, yet again, tries reaching out to the Force, and she can't, and Shen just easily overpowers her. Now, out of anybody in this episode, Ray Stevenson, he does get a lot more airtime, and I think that the character of Balin is the MVP of this episode because he gives lines about Ahsoka, the Jedi Order, Anakin Skywalker, and yet again, I'm not mad at the actors. I wasn't mad at Ray Stevenson or Rosario Dawson, but there's finally this big epic showdown between Ahsoka and Balin, and it just feels very I don't know, slow, and it's like, it's no offense to the actors, but it feels like the choreography, these guys were given like 2 hours to rehearse these fight scenes, and they're very just slow and like this and just wooden and stuff, but it does come down to that Balin is overpowering Ahsoka, and after Shen easily beats Sabine there, Balin does give Ahsoka some speeches about the Jedi, the Fallen Order, and just like, there could have been a different way to go about this, but this is all you know. So he knocks Ahsoka into this big ocean there, and she's okay, defeated. Now, I do like the fact that Balin does make a wager, he does make a promise to Sabine. He tells her that, you know what, with the map, I can find your friend, and I'm also a man of my word. So Sabine, being gullible, She gives Balin the map. Now, Shin shows up, she starts choking Sabine, and of course Balin's like, listen,
Release her. I gave her my word. And unlike her former master, I shall keep mine.
I did respect the fact that Balin is a man of his word. He may be a bad guy, but I always like when a bad guy has morals. At the end of the day, they do get the map and they get out of there. And at the very end, nobody was surprised, but Ahsoka is now stuck in the world between worlds, which if you ever watch the Clone Wars, it's like this. I always thought that it was a cheap plot point because it can be this thing where time and space doesn't exist, so you could have a character like Ahsoka, for example, who's in her 40s interacting with, big shocker, big spoiler to nobody, but Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen. The second I heard the word snips, because if you watch the Clone Wars, he called her snips, Ahsoka in her 40s can interact with Anakin back in his 20s. But you're thinking to yourself that, okay, is Anakin a Force ghost? Is she interacting with him in the past? We're not sure, but everyone loves Hayden. He did a pretty good Anakin, but you know this is leading up into the next episode. So a quick like 10-second member berries. Part of it does feel lazy. I do like seeing Hayden, but I'm like, yeah, it's just overall this episode just again, it was lightsaber scene after lightsaber scene, but the choreography just felt very lazy. I mean, yeah, there are good special effects, there are good ship sequences, but you could have cut this entire episode down to 10 minutes and just not notice anything. So, whatever, right? So, right now, this episode, this season is halfway over. This bottle of vodka is halfway over. I'm just fighting everything in my freaking power to stay awake, and that's all I can say, guys. This is 4.5 minutes of more than this episode deserved. I'm gonna drink some more of this stuff. Get on to episode 5, and we have 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm gonna try to finish the rest of this freaking bottle by the end of this season. Man, it feels like so far after 4 episodes, they could have cut this stuff down into 2 episodes and got the exact same point across and storyline across. So, okay, it's 5 minutes. I'm starting to ramble on. Definitely drinking a little bit. So, okay, guys, on to episode 5.
Episode 5.
Hey, okay. Episode 5 is done and it's called Shadow Warrior. And off the bat, we get to see Hera and her big, delicious green booty. That's probably the best part of the episode. So, hey, do you remember Anakin Skywalker? Do you remember Hayden Christensen? Guess what? I remember.
Chewbacca? Yeah. Remember Alex? Remember?
And a good half the episode is just member barriers. Look, it comes down to this. I like Hayden Christensen. A lot of people like Hayden. And the thing is that, the guy is 41, 42 years old. And they keep trying to portray him, even with the shitty Obi-Wan Kenobi show, of still playing Anakin from the time between episode 2 and 3. Because that's the whole Clone Wars thing is Anakin was training Ahsoka between those episodes. So he looks fantastic, but the bottom line is the guy's in 20. Ahsoka is caught in between the world between worlds, and now Anakin has to teach her more lessons. It just feels like cheap bullshit member berries because if you want to see this stuff, go watch the Clone Wars, go watch Rebels. So we get a flashback of young Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. How do we know it's the Clone Wars? Because she says,
"This is the Clone Wars."
Yeah, no kidding. Anakin is showing her one last lesson, and it's about living or dying. It's simple as that. At its core, it could be a very good story arc because she's at this time period where Jedis are being trained to be soldiers. They're not trained to be keepers of the peace because of the Clone Wars. And it just sucks because I feel like this is something that should have been done 10, 15 years ago, but the way it's set up, it just feels like to be cheap member berries.
What about my training? This is your training.
Now, to his credit, best believe when I say that Hayden, the guy hasn't missed a fucking beat. When he's having a lightsaber, he's doing the whole behind his back and the front forward, and the guy, he has to make up for the lack of choreography and a lack of training for Rosario Dawson, because when she's deflecting it, when she's fighting, it's very slow and one-dimensional, and I'm sorry to say, but it's very painful to watch. If you want to see how nasty Ahsoka can be, go watch an episode of the Clone Wars and go watch an episode of Rebels, especially during Rebels when Ahsoka was fighting Darth Vader. She's fast as hell, she's quick, he just has these lightning fast reflexes, but in this show, holy shit, it's painful to watch.
Gotta say, it was painful to watch.
And everybody saw this on Twitter, everybody saw this on social media. Look, it's a quick cut between Anakin and Vader and Anakin and Vader. Yes, this whole 5-second shot does look fantastic. I'm not going to debate that. But then she beats Anakin, and when she overturns him, it's just slow and painful to watch. And I'm watching it like, this is fucking embarrassing. After that, of course, Ahsoka is saved by Hera, her green hotness there, and of course she comes out and it's some cheap friggin' Lord of the Rings ripoff. Now Ahsoka is wearing these white robes, and now she's Ahsoka the White. Like, oh, it's so fucking just bullshit.
No! It's just dumb!
Apparently, in the end of Rebels, they had these space whales, and now these space whales can travel between galaxies. Ahsoka comes out, and now she can communicate with these space whales. I couldn't help laugh to myself that these massive space whales, the way they have their legs and stuff, and they're going through the sky, they look like massive gray space sperm, and I'm just laughing like, what the
What the fuck is this?
She goes, and with her spaceship, she goes into a space whale's mouth, and even the robot was like, Ahsoka, we have no idea where these things are going to go. And she's like, oh, it's not a big problem. They can go anywhere, but it's better than going nowhere. We have no idea where the fuck these things are going to go. But Ahsoka has the mindset that these space whales will lead her into Thrawn and then Ezra. And that's pretty much it. The ending sequence is pretty decent on the budget in terms of special effects, but it just, again, it feels like a massive, just filler episode. I love seeing Hayden. It feels so out of place with how bad the choreography is. Go back as much as you may hate episode 2 and 3, but at least even in episode 3, you have to respect the time and effort and choreography and training that Hayden and Ewan McGregor put into those fight scenes. These fight scenes are fucking embarrassing to watch. I don't know. It's whatever. Just move on to next episode. I'm hoping you have fun. I'm not. I'm drinking. I'm trying to make this entertaining, but holy shit, guys. I just want to finish this bottle of vodka and move the fuck on to something better. Let's get on to episode 6. You ready? Let's go.
All right, next episode.
Okay, episode 6, which is called Far, Far Away. The same place I wish I was right now. But hey, look, after 6 long, boring episodes because Ahsoka and the little robot guy are inside of a space whale, and of course Balin and what's your name there, Morgan, they're inside their spaceships, and finally the return of Admiral Thrawn, or Admiral Elon Musk, and it was a joke on the internet, but yeah, the guy looks just like Elon.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
I guess it was cool that they used the same voice actor that played Thrawn in the Rebels and stuff, but the bottom line is, just because he was a great voice actor doesn't mean he was a great character actor inside this show. And goddamn, I guess the time between Rebels and this TV show, the guy pat down a goddamn few pounds. So
I'm so fat.
that's pretty much all that's going on. And I think the only good part of this episode I actually enjoyed was, yet again, Ray Stevenson and Balin. He's talking to Shen, and Shen talks to him about, well, do you miss the Jedi Order? And he's like, I miss the idea of it. And I miss, like, I guess what it represented, and the order and stuff. But he knew it wasn't going to last. And of course, after 6 long, boring fucking episodes,
I knew I could count on you.
Ezra grew a beard, so I can relate. And also, Ezra's pathetic, which I can relate.
We're basically the same.
Thrawn talks to these bullshit night witches, night characters, and says that he wants to use their magic, but also he tells Morgan that, did you see a body? He's like, even if these space whales appear, destroy all of them. And Thrawn, at least right now, in this whole 15 minutes we get to see Thrawn, he's pretty goddamn smart, and don't underestimate the Jedi. So honestly, that's all I can talk about in this whole episode because nothing else freaking goes on, guys. So we only have 2 more to go, 7 and 8, and trust me when I say this is 6 o'clock at night. I am barely holding fucking on.
I think I'm dying.
2 more to go. Sorry, I'm not dragging this on much longer because there's nothing else to freaking talk about. It was Thrawn and Ezra. That's it. Let's move on. I'll see you in a minute for episode 7. You ready? Bye.
Cosmic Wars Episode 7.
Okay, just got done with episode 7, and it's called Dreams and Madness. And don't worry, I'm feeling a lot of freaking madness right now. The coffee's almost done, and guess what? The Svega vodka, a little bit left. I'll finish this for episode 8. What's going on? It starts off with the character of Hera and her good green booty talking to this council, and guess what? She's talking to these guys about friggin' Thrawn and space whales, and everyone is looking at her like, you know what? Bullshit.
I don't believe this. I don't believe you.
Guess what? More member berries, and I guess Anthony Daniels was pretty much free that day. We get to see, oh look, C-3PO, and of course he names drop Leia Organa, or Organa, Princess Leia. I'm too drunk to care at this point. So,
I don't care anymore.
next we have Ahsoka talking to her droid, Huyang there, and we get another hologram of Anakin Skywalker, and she's training, doing her different forms, and as usual, the training is just very slow, boring as hell, and it's like, why even just have her training for it?
It's just sad to watch.
Okay, moving on. Sabine is talking to Ezra. Ezra seems like a friggin' pacifist now, and from the little I watched of Rebels, Ezra was training to be a Jedi, had a lightsaber. Now he's basically a friggin' pussy, and he doesn't want to do any kind of combat. And they eventually get into a fight scene, and Ezra will not pick up his old lightsaber. He tells Sabine that, you know what, you pick it up, you use it. And he says that the Force is my ally, and I'm just laughing like, bullshit.
Look how they massacred my boy.
He does some combat scenes, but he's using the Force to just do Force pushes, and of course Sabine isn't using the Force at all because she can't friggin' access it. And then it comes down to, again, Baylan is fighting Ahsoka. The fight scene now is a little bit better choreographed than the first time they fought, but still, and I'm surprised he did this, where Ahsoka can't beat Baylan in a fight. He does overpower her, he does have the upper edge, even with her whole bullshit Ahsoka the White mentality and this white outfit, but, you know, she doesn't have to beat him, she just has to stall time. And of course, Sabine and Ezra start fighting Shin. They can't beat her, but the short version is, stormtroopers show up, and then friggin' Ahsoka shows up, and they overpower Shin. And then Ahsoka's like, hey, I can help you out. Shin is just like, you know what, fuck off, and that's pretty much it. Thrawn is talking to the Night Sisters, Night Witches, whatever you want to friggin' call them. And yeah, I'm not even sure at this point what Thrawn's freaking character arc or plot this entire episode was. That's all I can do in a quick 3 minutes. This was episode 7. We have 46 minutes long with the opening, the friggin' recap, and then the ending credits. Out of 46 minutes, it's probably about 35 minutes. And even then, that 35 minutes feels like it's dragging way too long.
Everything else was just filler.
On to episode 8, which is part 8, the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Yeah, right. And I will finish up this friggin' coffee. I have, let's see, this much left right here.
Let's finish this.
I don't think this season finale will get any better, and let's see what happens in the season finale, okay?
Finally, it's over.
Hey, guess what? Episode 8 is over, and also my sanity is over as well. Look, we're gonna finish this. It's cold. I don't care anymore. Episode 8 is called The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. It's almost like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And
Nothing. Rip off!
Waka is gone. Entire leader after 7.5 whole hours of this bullshit.
How did you survive?
So what's going on? And alright, let's get into this shit. Now, Ezra does construct a lightsaber. Hey, he's not totally freaking useless. Then Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka get into this big battle with these stormtroopers. And guess what? After killing them, and you can tell they're struggling, which is pretty pathetic since, again, they're moving like this, and it's...
That was fucking pathetic.
Then the Night Witches, they bring them all back to life, and we have zombie stormtroopers. Like, I'm not even joking. Zombie stormtroopers.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Then the Night Sisters, they make Morgan there a super Night Witch, and alright. After that, Ahsoka has to catch up to Morgan, and then, guess what? Friggin' Sabine, she's getting choked out, and all of a sudden, after 8 episodes, she finally uses the Force. Like, hey,
Are you shitting me?
anybody can use the Force as long as you think and try hard enough, right? Because bullshit.
All right, this is goddamn ridiculous.
Sabine has to help out Ahsoka because Ahsoka is fighting Morgan, and she's having a very hard time deflecting all these zombie stormtrooper blaster bolts because apparently now stormtroopers can never aim for shit. but once you become a zombie stormtrooper, now you can aim all of a sudden. And so she's deflecting all of the blaster bolts and also fighting Morgan. At one point, one of her lightsabers gets cut in half. Now she's fighting with one saber. And everybody, all the stormtroopers in a big circle, they stop shooting at her and she's fighting Morgan one-on-one. I seen this on Twitter and in Instagram shorts and reels, and I couldn't help. I'm going to pull this up as well. I'm watching it laughing my ass off, thinking to myself that scene from Jurassic Park with the raptors, and like, why did all the stormtroopers stop shooting her all of a sudden? Like, fucking shoot her.
Shoot her! Shoot her!
The entire scene is painful to frickin' watch. And of course, as it happens, Ahsoka is losing then Sabine, because now Sabine can use the Force, easily dispatches all of the zombie stormtroopers, even though Ahsoka had trouble fighting off the zombie stormtroopers with dual sabers. And of course, Ahsoka, what does she do? She kills Morgan. Then after that, well, Thrawn gets away, and basically Balin has his, I guess, last character arc where he's still trying to find what he's looking for. We get to see Balin walking off into a sunset and kind of like this ledge on the top of a cliff. Balin has more story to tell, and if they ever bring this bullshit show back, we're going to have to recast Ray Stevenson. Thrawn gets away. He still is trying to, I guess, rebuild the Empire, and Palpatine isn't mentioned, but I guess he wants to serve Palpatine. And of course, Thrawn, he's still there. And at the very, very end of it all, we get to see a cheap, and I'm assuming Force Ghost, but Anakin. It just felt so stupid. And hey, look, Hayden, yet again, member berries.
Woo, pointless nostalgia.
As usual, it's another 45-minute episode with maybe 6 minutes of fight scenes, which were honestly very painful to watch. And
it's nothing new.
What is my overall assessment of Ahsoka? The bottom line is this. Yes, Rosario Dawson is great casting. She is a great actress, but the choreography in this show is laughable at best.
It's all a fucking joke.
Half the acting is fucking wooden as hell, especially coming from Ahsoka Rosario Dawson. Yes, it is cool seeing, as always, Hayden Christensen, but it feels like 10 or 15 years too goddamn late, and at this point, just a bunch of member berries. The show, as many people told me, is very, very, very fucking boring.
Gotta stay awake. Gotta stay awake.
I had to drink an entire pot of coffee just to stay awake for this bullshit season. And I found myself a couple times nodding off and trying to stay awake just to record this video. This was a very long and painful 7 hours of my life. And even as shitty as Rings of Power was, at least they had good music and good special effects. And to their credit, Disney did dump a lot of money into this show.
It's spectacular. Spared no expense.
The real shame of this is that Ahsoka Tano was a fan favorite. They could have done so much with her.
But she deserved better than that.
You could have had better character arcs with her and Anakin, and even Ezra, and of course, Thrawn. Thrawn overall was considered a very badass of a bad guy, and a very big threat.
He wasn't weak.
I could see how other people would spend like an hour breaking down an episode. I don't care enough. Some of these episodes are 30 minutes long. I don't want to make a 45-minute or 50-minute video breaking down a shitty half-hour episode. It's better for me to just binge the entire fucking season.
It's just like pulling off a Band-Aid.
Overall, it was a waste of time. It's wasted potential. I'll never watch it again. And honestly, when season 2 comes out, I would only watch season 2 to just watch reviews and make my own review just to make some people laugh. So,
well, I hope you got a good laugh.
And I hope that maybe one person or two people appreciates the sacrifice that I had to do for this show. Everybody I know, people on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, whatever, all said, don't do it, don't suffer. But you know what? Again, I can't tell you how bad this show was unless I sat here and watched it for myself, but also drank an entire fucking liter of blueberry raspberry vodka. So yeah, guys.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
This is probably going to be 35 to 40 minutes, and I hope my presentation has gotten a lot better since I did the Woke of Power. And honestly,
I was just trying to have some fun.
I'm going to end this video, as I always do. I have to check my time because my Jedi pathetic ass is always low on time and get ready for work, but I'm going to take a nap first because never go to work when you're drunk because that's irresponsible. And
I like being the responsible adult.
As much as I am a loser, I'm a responsible loser. All right. I will see you guys later for the next video. I will get this out as soon as possible. Honestly, I will drunken binge some show next time. I'm not sure what it is. Honestly, I'm probably gonna throw up because that'll probably be less painful than suffering through this show. This show for 7 hours. I'm out of here. I'll see you later, guys, and bye.
There you have it. I hope you enjoyed the show.